Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show as we ramp up to the 2026 season as the head coach of the Liberty Bison, Adam Contreras. And Coach, here we go again, man. I know it's the month of July, but the football season is knocking on the door. It is right around the corner. So at this time of the year, are you still trying to relax a little bit, or can you not relax because you know just a couple weeks away the helmets and pads are coming out?
Yeah, I try. Hey, how's it going, Pep? Thanks for having me. Yeah, I try to relax this summer. We're in a dead period last week. I just got back from Texas, and I try to relax. But I was up at 4:30 a.m. thinking about next week, and I again like to relax, but football is knocking at the door, and it's right around the corner, and it just the competitor in you thinks about the game, and whether you like it or not. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you feel like, hey, every day I could be doing something, right, to get better, or, game planning for something, or coming up with a new play, or, something, right, to feel like you guys are going to be ready for that first game of the year.
Yeah, it's something. It's always in the back of your mind, and, but I am enjoying it, with my 3 kids, and I'm outside all the time with them playing water balloons. I bought 75 3-packs of those instant fill water balloons, and so we've been playing with water balloons every day, and I've been really good at taking naps, and just playing dad and husband before the season comes up. So
yeah, I learned a long time ago, you sleep when the kids sleep, so if they're going down for a nap, that's a good time to take a nap too. Right?
Oh man, I've been great at it. So
well, Coach, it looks like you're doing a very good job fighting off the gray hairs. Like, I think you're doing a good job over there, even though you got a hat on right now. But, man, I was looking at your schedule last year. I know how you guys did, but I was kind of like digging a little bit deeper. I don't know if there's another team in the IE that played as many close games as you guys, which would definitely give me gray hairs. When you look back at last year, maybe I'm being overly dramatic, but I just feel like you guys were like every single game, you won a bunch of them, but every single game was like a battle and it was close.
You're absolutely right. I have some. I have some. I tuck it back, and I'm still going strong, but they're in there. And oh man, yes. Thanks for bringing that up. We played so many close games. I think with I think the first 4 games, we lost 3, and they were within, I think, a total of 9 points, differential. And then, a 1-point loss, to Orange Vista, and, even our last quarterfinal game. And man, that was a close one. And we played a lot of close games, and my principal and athletic director, they were like, can we please not have another close game? Just please. And so, but, we like to make it exciting in Winchester, California. So, but no, I mean, we play a good schedule, and it's a battle every week. And, those are, sometimes the way it unfolds. So hopefully, we don't have too many of those, or if we're on the winning side of those, then then we could laugh it off. So
yeah, and you won a bunch of them. So what do you think that says about your team, that you get into these games where it's kind of like who has the ball last, or who has the last drive of the game to win it or defend it. But the fact that you won a bunch of those games, I think speaks volumes about your team, like the grit that it takes to find a way to win when it comes down to maybe just a couple plays.
Absolutely, and that's kind of the mentality of our guys, is that grit and that just perseverance, and just we're playing 4 quarters, and sometimes overtime. Like against Paloma, we went to, I think, triple overtime, and and it was Paris Peacock, and you know what I mean. It was just our guys just kept grinding. That's kind of been our mentality: you just earn everything, and just grind it out until the final whistle. So.
Well, Coach, we know you like to run the football. You just brought up Paris Peacock. I ran into your guy, Chris DeBose, at one of the University of Redlands camps. Is it business as usual for the Bison? Are we going to see like another strong running attack? Is DeBose going to be like that marquee guy? Are you going to use several running backs? What's that look like?
Yeah, DeBose, he's an absolute monster. Matter of fact, I was on social media, and he's working. I mean, he's in there. I mean, he looks like a collegiate athlete already, and he's just, he's one of the hardest workers out there. And it will be the Chris DeBose show, this year, running the football. We kind of have a three-headed monster with him leading, Isaac Ayala, and then even with Gavin Ramirez. We're going to run the ball, but we have a pretty good quarterback, Julian Gallardo, who can sling the football, and we feel pretty good about our skill guys. And so we've been kind of putting in those things. I've been talking to my offensive coordinator, and because people they load the box and okay, Liberty's going to run the ball again. But we feel that we can throw the ball this year, and we've been putting in some new things for these guys and for Julian and our skill guys, and in turn will help our run game be even more more of a threat. So but again, if all else fails, we know how to run the ball. So, but we are looking to throw the ball a little bit more this year. So
it's all cyclical, right? If you want to throw the football, you got to be able to run it, and if you want to run the football, you got to be able to throw it, right? Keep that defense honest over there.
Absolutely.
And I think you must have been at Heritage, right, when they played Citrus Hill, and Citrus Hill didn't attempt a single pass in that championship game.
Yeah, that was my first year.
Was it? So it can be done if you just want to go all run.
It can be done. That was a really good team, and I mean we were really good as well. And yeah, it could be just put the ball on the ground and just grind it out, and we have the guys to do that as well. But again, it helps to put the ball in the air and have some home runs, and again we feel we have some of those guys this year, and but yeah, that was a throwback. Ooh, I remember that. I still talk to Broge about that game, and that was a grind for sure.
Yeah, that was an instant classic down there. That was for sure. Coach, I'm looking at your non-league schedule. It looks like it's a lot of the usual suspects, for you guys playing Temecula Valley. You got Elsinore on the schedule, Hemet. Through the non-league portion of your schedule, what are you just hoping to see from your team as you kind of build up to a very competitive Ivy League?
Yeah, that's just it. Those teams are, going to be battles. Starting with Temecula Valley, we're kind of one-on-one. We took the first one; they took it last year, so that's going to be a battle. They have a good squad, and then Sultana, Elsinore, like I said, Hemet, Paloma. What I'm hoping is to kind of work out all the kinks and start playing our best football going into league. We have a very tough league again, and some teams moved into the league, Poly and Rancho Christian, and I'm hoping we can kind of, figure out who we are by then, and find out who our guys are that are going to step up, and kind of again work out all the kinks, and kind of see our what type of team we're going to be. I know what type of team I'm hoping we could be, but but once we put the gear on and we start playing, it all unfold the way it's going to unfold. And but I'm excited for that non-league, because again, there's different types of teams that we're playing, from the High Desert team to, a rival, right across the freeway with Paloma. And that's always a battle. It always has been. And so, it's an exciting non-league.
And then the Ivy League, obviously Orange Vista is still the team to beat, until someone knocks them off. Orange Vista is the team to beat in the Ivy League. But, I mean, you mentioned Rancho Christian coming in, Riverside Poly coming in. I feel like the Ivy League probably has never been tougher. I mean, probably all these teams feel like, including yourself, feel like you have a chance to win a league championship. Vista Del Lago's always tough. I don't leave anybody out. But, man, I feel like the Ivy League might be wide open, but it's never been tougher. I mean, every team is really good in that league.
It is a grind from Vista Del Lago. It was our first game going in, and that was another close one. Came down to the last play, and and
And Orange Vista was a 1-point game, wasn't it?
and Orange Vista, we were up
Yeah.
on them, and like they were loaded, and they'll be loaded again this year. And came down to 1 point. We were 1 point away from winning league, and and you try, like, you don't look forward to playoffs, but again, you got to like grind for these wins to get that automatic bid. And it kind of came, because you think, all right, you can win 3 games and possibly get an automatic bid, but things got weird in the Ivy League last year, where if we lost that last game, there was some, okay, it's up to the Cal Prep ratings or the HS ratings, whatever that is. And,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a grind every single, it's going to be a gauntlet every single game. And man, but our guys are ready. They know what they're in for, and they've been working, because they know, we're in the toughest league, and there's no games off. So it's going to be, again, like I said, a grind every single game.
So, Coach, when you come out of dead period and, helmets and pads, I'm not sure what the exact date is, but it's probably maybe like 3 weeks away or about that, to get helmets and pads out. What do you think is the most important thing that you guys want to do as a team the next couple of weeks to be ready for Temecula Valley in week 0?
Yeah, just the coaches and I have been talking and, looking at spring, looking at summer, and kind of dial in some of the things that we need to take care of, and get in shape. We have to get in shape. We have some two-way players. We have to really get in shape. And then ultimately, I want our team. We have a close-knit team, but I want them to get closer. I want them to, we probably had our best practice, the last practice before the dead period. And we were grinding, man. We were grinding, and the guys came together, and they kind of looked, to their left and right, and I'm like, man, I'm going to go to battle with that guy. I'm going to go to battle with this guy, and I want more of that. Mm-hmm. And it was cool because there was a line of guys after practice. They're like, Coach, we need more of that. Like, we need to step it up even more, and that's just how hungry our guys are. And so I think those things, if we could kind of focus on those things, and that'll kind of set us up. And I believe the day we get helmets, it's July 27th, which is kind of a weird day. But
so were you thinking at the time, like, did dead period come at the wrong time? You're like, man, we're having great practices. We need to just keep going, man. Like, we should have had it earlier, like in June or something.
Yeah, a little bit. We kind of, look at our dead period and like, man, like, we have all this momentum, and then, it's like the hydration break or something like
that.
Yes. And so, but again, like seeing that the guys are working still, and they're hungry, and what's cool is that these leaders are kind of stepping up, and emerging as leaders, as captains, and they're kind of getting guys together in groups and working out on it, because we know we can't really orchestrate it, but they're kind of taking ownership of the team, and that's really cool. And so I think we're gonna come in and hit the ground running, just like we were. So we got a good plan, and ultimately the guys are ready for it, and they're going to ask for more. And so, which is always cool as well. So.
And now, I mean, Liberty's been around long enough. You have some classes go through. Kind of the foundation has been laid. I knew, relatively speaking, still a newer school, but you feel like it's more established now, right? People know what Liberty football is about. When the kids join the program, they know what the culture is. They know what the program is, stands for, right?
Absolutely. And so those guys who paved the way early on, did a tremendous job when we were brand new, and there was still construction, and we were practicing at Wheatfield Park or something like that. Those guys truly set the foundation and set the bar, and the bar kind of raised, every single year. And, we won our first playoff game last year and made it to the quarterfinals. And that's the standard now. And the guys, who are now upperclassmen, they're not settling for anything less than that. And so and then the young bucks come in, and we have our 1-day camp, and they're passing on the traditions to them. They're making them say, oh no, we don't walk on the field. Hey, once we get to the commit line, we're no, and so it's cool to see some of these traditions already and expectations already getting passed down to the young bucks. And again, we are established, but we still have a lot to grow, with, and still a lot of new traditions that we can create. And these guys are doing it. They already, again, within the line after the last day, hey coach, like, what do you think about doing this? Hey, when we come back, what do you think about doing this? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And, one of the things that we implemented last year was the breakfast club, where we're coming in at 6 a.m. for the whole week before we get pads. And, and just to kind of get that mentality. And it was cool. I contemplated doing it. I'm an early bird, so it didn't matter to me. But I'm like, okay, how many guys are we going to get? Well, we got 100%.
Wow.
Attendance last year for all 5 days. And again, that's the standard. That's the expectation now. And the guys are looking forward to it. They stay the night at each other's houses and, get each other up in the morning. And so again, so there's a lot of cool things happening, at Liberty with and it's all the guys, really the players, who paved the way, creating these traditions, creating the standard, and setting the bar higher and higher every single year. So.
Yeah, it's awesome to see these next classes, sticking to it and holding what was already built, making sure that continues. So that's really awesome, Coach. Listen, I always appreciate your time. I love talking Liberty football. I got my Bison hat. I'll have to go throw it on and, walk around the IE a little bit with my Bison hat. But I always appreciate the time. Good luck this upcoming season. Hopefully not every single game will be a 1-point game for you guys. So maybe you'll get some easy wins in there. Who knows?
Yeah, you got my heart pounding already for the flashbacks. But no, always a pleasure, Pep, and thanks for what you do for the area. And look out for the Bison this year. Our guys are ready to go. So again, appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. That's Adam Contreras, the head football coach for the Liberty Bison here on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.